Hello and welcome back to Today at United. My name is Haider and I'm your host today. Guys, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, please, because we'll be doing this every single morning. You'll get your daily dose of Manchester United. There's some great shows in the evening as well, 2 shows a day. So make sure you're hitting that like and subscribe button. I've got a stellar cast today. I accidentally overbooked, but 3 great Man United fans to talk to me about today's action. So Alan, James, and Neil, morning, guys, or evening for you, Alan, wherever you are in the world. How are you doing?
Doing good, mate. Doing good.
Brilliant,
Very
brilliant.
good.
Yes.
Let's start with the Manchester United victory last night because it was actually a fantastic victory. Neil, I'll come to you first. We were a bit slow, weren't we, in our build-up play? I thought we were definitely. I don't think we were as sharp as we wanted to be. I think the scoreline in the end flattered us. The second half was definitely where we picked up, and there were some positives from that. I just want to ask you about the Mata and Van der Beek understanding that's being built. I thought Mata was fantastic again last night, and Van der Beek seems to have this understanding with everyone, with Mata, which he doesn't seem to have with anyone else because Mata's on that level with him in terms of footballing IQ. Were you impressed with what you saw last night between those two players?
Yeah, I mean, we all knew that Van der Beek was going to be a top player, and hopefully his agent's going to be chuffed that he's got more game time. I know it's been a long time we've been waiting for this. But it's just a shame Mata's just lost his pace because if he just got that extra yard of pace, I mean, he'd probably be worth 100 million quid. But with great understanding, yeah, we were a bit ponderous at the start, knocking it across the back, trying to be a bit more direct. Would be a bit better, trying to move it forward quicker. But yeah, it was a good victory in the end, and we actually looked fit for a change.
Hold on, Neil. I think you dropped out there. Carry on, mate.
Yeah, I mean, we look. I don't know where people have picked up from, but we look fit. It's just a shame we can't get 2 games a week out of Mata. If we could fit him into the squad, I mean, I tweeted last night we've probably got 3 number 10s now in our squad, whereas a year ago we didn't have 1. So it's a difficult to try and fit all the parts in now, which is quite a nice problem for Ole to have.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a nice problem to have. I completely agree because United for a long time, even under Sir Alex, you remember the midfield. We won the league with Cleverley and Henderson. So, for years the midfield's been a weak point for me. We haven't been dominating games enough. Now, when you look at the options you have, James, you've got Matic, you've got Pogba, Bruno, Van der Beek. Mata's stepped up again. I don't like him on the right wing, but that's where he seems to be playing. But suddenly now, United have some options in midfield. And if you're looking towards the midfield against Spurs on the weekend, I'd even be tempted, although I absolutely love Pogba, but Van der Beek deserves a start now, doesn't he?
Yeah, definitely. I think Pogba's game yesterday improved tenfold. I think that's the best we've seen him play this season. Yes, it was a slightly weaker opposition, but yeah, from his performances that he's made as a sub and as the starts he's made as well, we saw that little bit of class with the back heel for Mata's goal, I believe. We've seen quotes from his agent as well that he's not happy that he's not starting. So I think if he doesn't get a start soon, I really feel for him in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, look, the agent stuff I think is probably a bit premature. I was speaking to someone about what the agent said. I don't think it was his agent per se, but I think it was a well-known Dutch agent. He was obviously saying that Van der Beek's not playing enough. But I'm going to come to you. Let's talk about the defense. Eric Bailly was fantastic last night, wasn't he? I was really, really impressed. What impressed you most about Bailly, and would you be wanting to see him start next to Maguire?
I think the aggression he showed in defense. We needed that leadership in defense. Harry Maguire has been good, but Eric Bailly has been standout for the past 2 games because he was always on front foot rather than a player like Victor Lindelof. If you look at yesterday's game, we could see that he was everywhere on the pitch. He helped in dictating the play from the back. Ole likes to play from the back, so you could see that the confidence among the teammates in the back 4 was there when Eric Bailly came into the team. And I feel he definitely deserves a start against Spurs.
Yeah, I agree with that, Alan. I'm going to come over to you, Neil, and let's talk about Dallo because Dallo made the start. I think it surprised a lot of people. There's questions whether you're putting him in the shop window. There's questions whether he will get a game. But look, he completely divides opinion. Some people said he was terrible last night. I thought he was pretty good. I don't think he was outstanding, but you actually saw a bit more of a threat going forward on that right flank, which is something we've lacked for a while. And with Mata cutting in, I thought Dallo did a good job, didn't he? I mean, would you like to see him stay? It looks like he's going to go though to Milan.
I wouldn't be disappointed if he stayed, because we need cover for Wan-Bissaka, and I think he's too good to be. I think he's shown enough while he's been at United that I think there's a decent player in there. He's just not had a run of games. He's had a couple of injuries. We paid decent money for him at the start, so he couldn't have been a mug. I think that might have been a bit of a shop window last night, possibly, but I wasn't disappointed in the way he played. I mean, Brighton didn't score. You know, if you send your defence out and the opposition gets 0, it makes it a lot easier to win a game moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. James, I'm going to come to you for the last word on the game, and I think we've got to talk about Ighalo, sadly. And guys, get your comments in. Come on, let's get some more comments. Let's get some more engagement, more involvement. We want to hear your thoughts. If you disagree or agree with myself or any of the guests today, we want to hear that. But Odion Ighalo came to Man United and he had a fantastic start, didn't he? He was living the dream as a United. He's a United fan. He played with great passion. He played fantastically when he came on against City and held the ball up for that McTominay goal. But you're starting to see, obviously, he had a nice golden patch of 3 to 4, 5 games, but he's really found his level now. And I just don't think he's probably good enough to be back up for Man United. You look at the 99 squad and people say, oh, well, you know, we had 4 strikers, but they were all clear. Even let's say the Sheringham and Solskjaer were clear of Ighalo, and Ighalo is obviously a backup as well. So Man United do need to improve on that position. But were you also concerned last night at what you saw from him?
I think concern is probably the wrong word. I think it's the sort of emotional side of enjoying Ighalo is sort of fading away now. You know, he's that sort of commodity of him being a massive United fan and just playing for his boyhood club. That's sort of starting to wear off, and you're starting to see where he's really at. I think we saw with that chance where he rounded the keeper but couldn't quite find the net. I think that confidence has definitely gone that he started with. I think sort of age is starting to play a factor as well. He's the wrong side of 30. I think maybe even 6 months ago, he takes the keeper. He takes a bit of a better touch around the keeper, and he's in a better position to score. So I'm not concerned per se, because you know he's only on loan. We're not going to buy him at the end of the loan, and we're looking at possibly getting some new strikers in this window anyway. So not concerned. Just it's sort of like watching your favourite character die in a TV series. It's not nice, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, we're going to talk about Jadon Sancho now. I know we've got a few comments. AE1992. I'm going to read Greg's out first because Greg's spoken about Ighalo. Hello, Greg. How are you doing, mate? Nice to see you here again today. Ighalo has struggled to get into a championship team at the moment. I don't know. I think he's not a bad player. I just think that he's obviously had 2 or 3, 4 good games, but he just can't sustain it at the highest level, and that's what you need at United. Anyone can be a world beater on their day, but to do it consistently is something else. Hello, mate. He did try very hard, but maybe the lack of game time had an impact on his finishing. I'd probably agree with that, to be honest. It's a bit more difficult. Mab, hello, mate. Sorry for asking you. You must have said you already, but what are the updates? We're going to talk about Sancho now. Look, Jadon Sancho, probably the most frustrating thing all summer, Alan. And what I will say is that the club, whether they get him or not, the way that they've operated on this whole deal is not good enough. I think it's amateurish. I think it's incompetent. I think dragging it out, expecting to get a discount is so foolish. You know what Dortmund is all about. Now, if he's your top target and you miss out on him, that is a massive, massive problem, isn't it? I'm going to read out a few comments here. Stephen, hello, mate. You're saying we need to give up on Sancho. I'm not too sure about that. I think it's going to go down to the wire. And you've also said it's going to create stress and doubt for the club, then create the desperate buy. Do you agree with that, Alan? Do you think that United should be moving on from Sancho, or do you still think there's a massive chance we can still get him?
Yes, it's surprising that United, Jadon Sancho is still the priority target for United, because moving forward, we just have 4 days towards deadline day, 4 days. And then this transfer negotiation with Jadon Sancho, it has not just affected the whole transfer window for us. It has disrupted our preparations as well. Oli wanted Sancho in as soon as possible, but then we were looking at some, I don't know, is it related to exchange rates? Are we bidding? Because they said publicly through BBC that they were going to bid this week, but they haven't done one. But we're hearing reports from Germany that a bid was rejected at around 90 million quid with add-ons. But I feel we need to. I think we need to try for the 2 more days. I think we'll get more clarity today as well as tomorrow. Maybe by tomorrow we might see alternatives come in. But it's very sad to see that we are going after a plan B in the deadline week. Usually, if we have a plan B, it should have been done the previous week. At least the negotiations should have started then, because we are seeing a lot of rumors today. Not just Dembele, we are seeing rumors of Douglas Costa as well from David Ornstein from the Athletic. So it's pretty strange that we are not organized at all. How our transfer window has been this season. Felt the last season was pretty good. The recruitments that we brought into the team, Fernandes, Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, even Dan James. But then it was more like taking one step forward and then bringing 2 steps behind again in this transfer window.
Yeah, some fantastic points, Alan. I'm going to come to you, Neil, now. Look, what frustrates me, I'm one of those, honestly, I stopped getting wound up about the Sancho rumours because at the end of the day, if he joins, fantastic. If he doesn't, the club know exactly what they've had to do all window. That he's been their top target for over a year. Last year, we prioritised a centre-back, which was probably the right choice. Whether Maguire was the right choice is another question for another time. But United have had Sancho as the top target for over a year now. So come March, United knew what was needed. They knew what the personal terms were. They knew what the agent fees were going to be. A club who is a bit serious, who's got a bit more forward thinking, a bit more planning, would have agreed in principle with Sancho and his agent before, so that as you come into the season or into the transfer window, you know exactly what you got to do. I think it's quite arrogant. Do you not think it is from United to think that they can drive this price down when Dortmund has said categorically 120 million euros we want? That's it. Take it or leave it. And to come in now and then the final window, as Alan said, we're going to be scrambling around. We'll talk about Dembele in a second with James, but isn't it just frustrating that every single summer, and this is our top target, if United miss out on this, doesn't it look bad to the rest of the teams in Europe and the other big European elite that United can't even secure their best target while they have a free run at it?
I think what you said, we do look very arrogant the way we're treating Dortmund. I mean, Dortmund aren't, they've been pretty proven over the years that they're a strong club to deal with. I mean, look at the price that Barcelona paid for Dembele, which was just, that got driven up and driven up. Dortmund have gone on record and said, this is the price. And we've tried to bully them, really, by putting in lower bids. I mean, I'm not sure he's worth the money, but if that's what Dortmund want and that's what we need, it's not my money, it's not your money. Let's put the money down and let's see if the Glazers are serious. If we don't get him, there's a lot of questions that are going to be asked. I think the fans will be, I wouldn't say revolting because that's going to sound a bit weird, but there'll be some sort of revolt from the fans. And I suppose the Glazers will be lucky there's not many people getting into the ground. But I can see a lot of protests towards the Glazers if we don't get Sancho, because they'll obviously get the blame for it. There's still part of me thinks we're going to get him now. Sky have sent a man out there, which is just laughable because they're asking him to ask questions and he's having to ask people because he's not allowed in the press conference. So you still think there's possibly a chance there somehow, but it's dragged on. It's really, really dragged on, and I'm just sick to death of it, to be honest. I mean, I'd buy Sarr if we could. I'd still get Sarr from Watford. I said a couple of months ago, I think he's a decent player, and he's much better alternative than the ones that people have been talking about.
Absolutely. And that's a fantastic point. I'm going to read out a few comments before I come to you, James. So, IK1998, hello, mate. Can't see BVB going against their word and accepting any offer now, as they've already given their deadline. If anything, if Sancho plays well, he could be worth much more next season. I'm I wake up each day and my mind changes on this point. My mind changes on whether they'll accept the offer. But at the end of the day, if someone puts 120 million euros down, you'd be crazy. No matter how good Sancho can be or is, at the moment, I don't think he's worth 120 million euros. I don't think he's a 120 million euro player. But you're paying for the sort of longevity. You're paying for the potential. You're paying for the, I hate to say it, but the marketing aspect, the commercial aspects of what as well. United get him in for that money. If they have him here for the next decade, that is great business from everyone, all parties. Dortmund get 120 million. Sancho joins a great club. United get a great player. But my issue with the whole thing is that, James, is that United, we know money's a bit tight, but leaving every other transfer to the end as well. We brought one player in. Liverpool won the league. They brought in a world-class player in Thiago. They brought in Jota, who looks a fantastic option off the bench, who could also push to start. They've improved the left-back position. You would have thought that they're the team 33 points behind, not United. United have just sat there and done what? Waited and hoped to bully Dortmund. As Neil said, Dortmund aren't a joke anymore. They're not a joke club. They're a top club, a regular Champions League club who have a fantastic structure and system, and they've got Haaland off us. They've got Bellingham off us. I mean, we're not even getting our top targets anymore. And that's surely a concern, isn't it? You're on mute, mate.
Yeah, sorry. I'm more concerned by the fact that there's been no real efforts to go out and get other targets in other positions as well. Because I understand that it's hard work bargaining with Dortmund, but you're probably in contact with them once or twice a day, realistically. With the amount of progress we've made, it can't be much more than that. So realistically, what's he doing with the rest of his day? Is he not out, trying to get other targets? It's a big recruitment team that they've got. Surely it doesn't take every single member of that team to be pushed into recruiting Jadon Sancho, because realistically it doesn't. So that's the thing that annoys me. It just completely amplifies how poor our planning's been going into this season. That on top of the lack of pre-season and the squad getting in a week before the Premier League starts, it all just adds to each other and just amplifies everything. So yeah, just frustrated on the lack of preparation more than anything, because yes, he's been our top target, but he's surely not been our only target.
Absolutely. James, while I've got you here, I want to ask you about Dembele. Greg's got a comment here. Dembele is a massive risk, too many injuries, and will get kicked loads in the Premier League. And the most worrying thing is that they are trying to convince him to join. That's Di Maria Part 2 would be a disaster in my opinion. Mate, Greg, that's some fantastic points. And I think a lot of people share those views. I spoke to a Barcelona journalist yesterday, and he said that Dembele doesn't want to leave. Barcelona's his dream club. But I think now he's open to the idea. But James, United are just doing this, aren't they, to sort of hurry him up? Because you'd be crazy to bring a player in who's injury prone, no matter how talented he is, so injury prone, almost as injury prone as Phil Jones. Bring him in and have an obligation to buy. I mean, that's just shocking business, isn't it?
Yeah, loan on its own is understandable because it's a win-win. If he plays well, you've got a good season out of him. If he doesn't, you can send him back at the end of the year. But yeah, I completely agree with what they've been saying. I think it was comfort to last night here that Ronald Koeman's come out, told Dembele that he's a part of his plans and he doesn't want to get rid of him. So I think that if that's accurate, then I think that's sort of shot the deal dead. But I'm really hoping it's a smoke screen for either Ismail Assar or Jadon Sancho, because I don't see United as stupid as the board is. I think this is a little bit too stupid of a deal to actually go ahead with. Like you say, his injury record just speaks for itself. He's a good player regardless of his injury record, but why you don't want to be paying that sort of money and wages for a player who's only going to play 12 games a season. We may as well assign Gareth Bale if you wanted to do that. So yeah, just don't really see the common sense behind the deal, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to read out a few comments now before I come to you guys. Sport Gossip, hello, mate. Despite being 3 years younger and having played 1,965 fewer minutes, Jadon Sancho has had a direct hand in more league goals than Ousmane Dembele. Guys, Jadon Sancho is a top player. I know I said he's not top bracket yet. He isn't. He's still got a lot of developing to do. With 20 goals and 20 assists last season, third in the scoring charts behind Lewandowski and Werner, who are both strikers, is a fantastic return. You're getting a player that, at a young age, you need to remember this. Players at a young age, and Greenwood is another one that has it. the decision making, and Neil, you'll be able to jump in on this, isn't it? A young player's decision making is something they don't develop till quite later on in their career. But when you look at players like Jadon Sancho, you look at Mbappe, you look at Mason Greenwood, these are players who are special, aren't they? So when a player like this comes around, you can't miss out on them at such an early age, can you?
No, I mean, we can't afford to miss out on players like this. You know, recently we've missed out on some youngsters, which has been a bit disappointing. Normally we get these guys in. I mean, I think missing Bellingham, the Bellingham one was still one that got me. I think that could potentially be a big miss. I know we're stacked with midfield, but he would have been a great addition to the squad, I think. Decision making. You look at Beckham at the early days. He made some poor decisions. They sent him on loan to Preston. They toughened him up. They got him back. Decision making comes with experience. I've made some terrible decisions in my life, but you know, that's just in general. But on the football pitch, he needs the experience. And so, like you said before, Sancho, if they get him, it should be 10 years of marketing out of that kid.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to read out a few comments. Great comments, Neil. But Jono, we're losing 120 million upwards of matchday revenue. I don't think he's worth the money. Yeah, that's a big problem. Look, we don't know when fans are going to come back in. And some people are saying October. We're going to get a second wave. It looks like it anyway. And that's a serious problem for all clubs. And people are saying that next summer, there won't be a transfer market. It'll be trades because no one's going to have any money. Now, if United are hit badly, imagine what the smaller teams are going to be like. There's a comment here somewhere about shirt sales. One thing I do want to debunk this shirt sales thing is we need to understand, guys, that just because a player signs, United won't get the 100% of those shirt sales deals from Adidas. They get about 10% or 20%. So the idea that the shirt sales will recoup the money for the transfer fee is actually false. So I just thought I'd let you guys know that. A few more. Indiana, Peplo, the deals are not related. Sancho is done. If they are, it's to pressure Dortmund. Trust me. Are you in the know? That's just a question. If you are, then say yes. But until I see him sign on dotted line, mate, there's so many people that said it's done and it's just not done. So I think United can get it done. I'll be positive. I think United can get it done, but I think it's going to go right to the wire. And I think they want him and they can get him. But look, why are we lowballing Pelez? Because we don't have enough money to spend, and that's why people like Smalling going is very key for United. And Mab, I'm going to read this out before I go to Alan. Yeah, we signed world-class players, but they couldn't perform. Falcao, Sanchez, Di Maria, Depay were good. We let Herrera go, who loved the club so much. What's gone wrong with the club? Something I want to debunk, and people say this about the managers as well, is that, we signed world-class managers or world-class players, so now we should never do that again because it didn't work once. That's not how I would look at things. There's a massive problem at the club. You see all these players come in and they fail. And why is that? Because the environment's not set up for players to thrive and to be successful. Lukaku's gone. Sanchez is gone. All these players have gone and stepped up. They're not bad players as such, but the environment at United is not geared towards success. It's not geared towards football. It's about the money. You look at the players on these massive wages. How many of them actually are worthy of what they're on? They're not. So United needs a huge cultural reshift. And that's what Ollie's doing here. Does he get it right all the time? No, but he can't move forward unless the right players are bought in. So it's a vicious cycle, isn't it, guys? So what I'm going to say now is I'm going to go to Alan. Alan, let's talk about Cavani and Jovic. Look, I'd be delighted with one of them coming in on loan. I think we saw with what happened to Ighalo, we need a top striker or someone quality coming off the bench. Now, who would you prefer? Because Cavani gives you experience, but Jovic gives you youth. And my only worry with Jovic, if you're bringing him in on loan, is that you're just developing him like you did with Reguilon. And that's something that concerns me.
Yeah, that's very true. But the issue is, I feel like we're breaking a wage structure if we bring in Cavani, I feel, because he's already, have to pay him about 300 to 350k per week. But at the same time, I like Jovic more personally because he's been dangerous inside the box, like predatory instincts. If we get Alex Telles in, maybe those crosses going inside the box, giving good competition to Martial, Jovic might be a different player in the Premier League. He's had his ups and downs at Real Madrid. He had issues. Some attitude issues as well in training, but I feel I feel like he could be interested, but let's see what's going to happen, because there are a lot of players that United are interested in, many of them being offered to United as well. Maybe that could be a striker who Ole might be interested to bring. And I wouldn't say his name out because it's a very strange one. But yeah, I'll just say it's Josh King. Yeah, I think Ole likes Josh King, but we need a world-class striker in, because we already saw what Ighalo has brought into the team. He had that initial impact, but then when moving forward, we didn't see that from him. We won't get anywhere near to that with Josh King, I suppose. I believe so. But with someone like Jovic, I think it'll be fresh, because those Serbians in the team, Matic and all, will help him relocate into the team as well.
Yeah, fantastic points. I'm going to read out a few comments. Guys, get your comments in. Would you prefer Jovic or Cavani? Greg says here, Josh King. Honestly, Greg, and it annoys me as well because I'm not a fan of Josh King, but Josh King, I think, was the target. Well, it was Haaland. We all know that Oli wanted Haaland, but didn't get Haaland. Obviously, Dortmund got him. So then Josh King was the target. Didn't get Josh King, so we got Ighalo. So I do actually think Josh King's high up on the list. By the way, the EFL window is an extra week. So, guys, hold on to your hats, because, you know, we might see a situation where United miss out on all their targets and they end up dipping into the championship for Sarr, Brooks and King. So let's hopefully we wake up from that nightmare. But Gregory, I'm going to read out your comment before I come to James. I strongly think we should look at Luka rather than Cavani. Yes, Cavani has experience. Since we are planning for the future, then Luka is favoured. Look, I really like Luka Jovic. I didn't realise he was only 22, which is actually very, very young. He was fantastic at Eintracht Frankfurt. The issue for me, again, is I don't want to develop a player for Real Madrid, same way as Reguilon. It should be the same energy towards both. So that's the problem, isn't it, James? That if we're going to be having him for a loan and there's no obligation to buy or there's no option to buy, then we should really be stepping away and going towards someone like Cavani. You're on mute.
I'll get it right one time. Yeah, I think if it's just for a short-term deal, I think Cavani makes more sense, if anything. I understand that age is on Luka Jovic's side, but Cavani's got that. He's undoubtable quality, isn't it? I think Jovic had that one incredible season at Frankfurt, but he's not really replicated it since joining Madrid at all. He's not shown any signs of the player he used to be, and I think if Madrid are going to be keen on including any sort of buyback, or if it is just a short-term loan, then it's like you say, we're just developing players for Real Madrid, which, if anything, makes us a smaller club than them, and that's just us sort of admitting that, which as United we don't want to do we? So yeah, for me, Cavani, just to add that quality. We've already got a lot of young attacking players coming up, so Cavani can have that sort of Zlatan effect as well in developing those younger attackers like Rashford, Martial, and Greenwood. So, you know, if it was up to me, I think I'd be taking Cavani over Jovic. Yeah.
Yeah, I find myself leaning towards that as well. Neil, what, you're shaking your head in the bottom. Look, okay, what I see from Cavani, I look at Man United's attack and look at Man United's squad. Look at the outfield players. Bar, let's say, Matic, they're all young, or they're all approaching their prime. You look at the front three is very young, very inexperienced. Say you bring in the Tellez, who's a fantastic crosser of the ball. Cavani on the end of those crosses could be excellent. Now, United have to think about what they want to do, because their real striker target is Haaland. We know that Oli wants Haaland. United will go back in for Haaland in a year or so's time. It'll be big money, but that's who they want. Now, if they sign someone like Jovic for 40, 50 million, then now you've got a young striker there. And what if he doesn't perform? Whereas with Cavani, I feel like it's more of a short-term thing. 1 year deal, maybe a 2 year deal. Yes, the wages are high, but he's got that know-how. He's scored a bucket load of goals. He's won trophies. He's won many league trophies in France. I know people say it's the French league, but he's their top ever scorer. I mean, we need a bit more experience, a bit more know-how in that squad, don't we?
Yeah, we do, but I can't see Cavani being the answer. I mean, if he was as good as people are saying, and I absolutely agree with that point there, K1998 or K1998, it's got Falco written all over it again. We got all excited about it. I remember when we signed Falco, I thought, bloody hell, what an amazing signing this is. And he was an utter disaster. And Cavani, I think he's the same. He's been out of contract since he left PSG, and he's been linked with no one, absolutely no one in Europe. And if he's that good, I don't see him being another Abramovich. Abramovich. There's me.
Abramovich. I wish it was Abramovich, mate.
Yeah, I wish it was Abramovich. I wouldn't mind being linked with him. But the Ibrahimovic thing, I think, is completely different. There's a completely different. I just don't think you're going to pay Cavani 350 grand. He's going to want 2-3 year deal. He could get injured immediately. I think Jovic is a really good player, and I wanted United to go for him before he signed for Madrid. I remember speaking to my father about it. My dad was all over him, thought he was, the best thing since sliced bread. The next big thing, and he fits the mould of what Ole is looking for in his strikers. I see the argument about experience and someone in that role and helping the youth through. But if we could get him for sort of 40 million, I think he's worth the gamble. Definitely worth the gamble at that, because he's that fox in a box, and he's quick. He's quick and he's sharp.
Yeah, he is quick.
His career at Madrid started really bad, literally from day one, and just went downhill from there. But he's quick, he's sharp, he's just what we need, a real box finisher, and he'll do all his work inside the 18-yard box. And I think he'd be great for the squad. And like has been said, we've got a Serb in the side, and we'll help him settle. And I think that's a big point as well, and that might help the deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Neil, while I've got you here, I'm going to ask you a question. Devil's advocate. United miss out on Sancho, and so they get Sarr, who's obviously a younger player. So would you then be saying, okay, if we've got Sarr, we need a bit of experience, let's get Cavani in? Is that how you would look at it? Or are you thinking, nah, you got to build for the future.
No,
you're going to miss out on Sancho. You get Sarr, you go for Jovic, you get Tellez, and you hope that Bailly can keep fit, because it frightens me. If Bailly or Tuanzebe don't play, then I'm worried with that defense still.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're not the biggest fan of Maguire in the world, but if Bailly stays fit, Maguire goes up another 10% in my mind as a player. Yeah, because Maguire doesn't have to worry about his pace, his lack of pace, because he's got Bailly alongside him. When I sent a tweet out last night for all you youngsters out there about Terry Butcher was one of the slowest centre-halves ever played for England, but he had Des Walker playing alongside him, and Walker could catch pigeons. He was so quick, and that's what made the pairing so good. So I agree with the Bailly thing. I would like to get Jovic. I think I was really chuffed when we were linked with him. We get Tellez, get some cover down that side, and get Jovic. And I'd still go for Sarr. I said that at the start. I think the Football League window is the 16th. That shows.
Yeah, it's an extra week. So we can push that forward back. Yeah, push that backwards. Yeah.
Just give us time. If we don't get the Sancho deal, which is a possibility, let's be honest, then we've got a chance to go after Sarr. And I rate him. I rate him highly, and you'd get him for the right money, because Watford need the finances in.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to just read out a few comments before we end, guys. Again, K1998, you've put some fantastic comments in, mate. Thank you for getting involved. Give Greenwood his chance up front, arguably the best finisher at the club, and signing right winger would allow us to experiment where Greenwood would be best positioned. I think he's definitely going to be moving centrally in the next 18 months or so. But look, we need options. That right wing, I agree with Neil. Look, when you look at Sarr, some people are going to laugh at this, but Laurie Whitwell said yesterday that Ben Godfrey is available from Norwich, who's a good player. Now, United could do worse than wait. Let's say if they don't get any centre back in, from buying him later on in the window. There is talent in the Championship, but at the end of the day, if you're missing out on your top target like Sancho, no matter how you spin it, you could bring in Jovic, Sarr, Tellez, Godfrey, let's say, for example. But for me, it's still a failure. Am I right, James? I'm going to give you the last word, and I'll let Alan also answer this question. Just quickly, in like 30 seconds. Is it a failure if you're missing out on Sancho, even if you bring in those players?
I think it'd be too soon to say, because there's no guarantee that Sancho would be a great signing for United, is there? He could by all means flop. So I think you've got to give it a little bit of time before answering that question. You bring in Sarr and he has an incredible season. You say, well, it's not a failure. So signings-wise, it would appear to be a failure, yeah, by not getting Sancho, because he's one of the best players in the world already at such a young age. But I think you've got to reserve judgment until at least sort of 6 months in to answer any sort of question like that.
Yeah, great points there. I'm just going to read out Reese's comment. Hello, mate. Hope you're having a nice morning. Defense is always the key. We strengthen our defense and the front line will be improved. I've been saying this for a long time, Alan, that if you get, it's quite clear Ollie wants his defenders to be good one-on-one, and at the moment they're not, and they need to have pace. If you're going to play a higher line, which we play a high line, you need pace. We want the fullbacks to be bombing up more as well, which is why we want Tellez in. But you look at those signings, specifically Sarr, because a lot of people are sleeping on Sarr a little bit. They're saying, "Oh, he's from Watford, relegated, this and that." Sadio Mane was from Southampton, became one of the best players in the world. I know he's developed by Klopp, but there's players. What United used to do really well in the past, they used to buy within the league under Fergie. They'd go to Everton and buy players. They'd go to Spurs and buy players, like we did with Carrick. So the point is that United can find some gems, can't they, in Sarr in the Championship?
Yes, definitely I agree with you. They can find players from the Championship. And they've been targeting some good players as well. I think centre back, they were targeting Joe Rodon. I don't know how good of a player he always, this is the issue with United. Whatever target we go for, it ends up with the transfer fee. Transfer fee is the main issue. If you're going to buy Sarr, Watford will be asking 50 to 60 million pounds. 50 million pounds, I guess, maximum. And United will play it out with add-ons, bonuses, and then they'll keep on dragging it till the end. And we're suffering from that right at the moment. And I feel we could have looked into European market as well a bit earlier. We might have got some better players. Maybe in left back, Ait Nouri would have been a good option. Left back position. Centre back, we could have got some young players in. Maybe I think it's because of the trust issue. Younger players coming up, coming from different leagues. If you're coming from the League One, Ben White was one of our targets. Who was in Leeds? He had a good season. Then Brighton, he went back to Brighton. I think there are options on the table for United, but at the end, it comes to the team who negotiates the transfer. Saying, will he be quality? Will he be enough? And I think that has to change. The scouting team, there has to be a proper setup to look after it, to check which player, troubleshoot and check which player will be good from the Championship or from any other league. So they have to plan well in order to get good buys from this market.
Yeah, fantastic last point there. It's about the planning, isn't it? Guys, I'm going to read out the final comments before we go. Mab Durrani, finally a channel speaking sense and not just talking bollocks. I've got some fantastic guests here and they make my job a lot easier. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. There's some more great content on this channel. And Greg, I'm going to read your comment out last because you agree with me. But under the Glazers, can't see director football coming in, which it would improve the contract renewals and transfers in and out. Look, we know the bigger picture. It's very frustrating. But I just want to end on a positive note because I thought that we got a great result last night. Remember, we were 4 games in, and that match fitness aspect is a big part of our start to the season. Brighton have played 10 games, we played 4. I think we looked much more sharp last night. Still, it's a building blocks. We've got a big game on the weekend, and we need to win that. But look, things aren't all bad. It's not as bad as people say they are. They're not great as well. Like we want to be in a better position, but there's a lot of positivity. So let's keep on supporting the team. Let's keep on being positive, and let's hope that Jadon Sancho comes in through the door. Otherwise, there'll be another meltdown. But Alan, James, and Neil, thank you very much for joining me today. Nice one. And guys, make sure hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We've got 2 shows a day, amazing United content, great fan channel. So we will see you next time.